Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Animal Orange, and this week in 3D Metal Model News. Start with something that came out a little over a week ago on the Metal Earth Coming Soon page, and I think it was teased in a newsletter at some point in the past, but I couldn't find the newsletter. Coming soon we have the FA-18 Super Hornet, another airplane from Metal Earth. I have no idea when that's coming, but it's popped up on the Coming Soon page, so hopefully not too much longer if you're excited about that. It is model number MMS459, 3 sheets, moderate difficulty. The finish size 5.91 by 4.72 by 1.69 inches, or 15 by 12 by 4.29 centimeters. And that is the only thing new showing on Metal Earth's page since, well, the last video, which was actually 2 weeks ago. So I was very late getting to even putting together information for last week's video, and kind of decided to, if you haven't already seen the post that I put up on YouTube, I already just kind of decided to change from doing a weekly video to doing an every other week video, just because it's getting to the point, one, it's difficult for me to do every week, especially when I'm working every other weekend, and the other thing is the amount of new information is getting more and more limited, and it just kind of, a couple of people have suggested it, and I'm going to give it a try, waiting in every other week and doing the news video then, and try to put like important things or big news pieces in the meantime up on just a post on YouTube or something like that. Anyway, continuing on, just wanted to clarify why, since not since last week, but since almost 2 weeks ago. But moving on, if you haven't already noticed, Innovators is doing a Father's Day promotion. If you order over $50 worth of models and put in the code DAD, D-A-D, capital letters, you can get a free mystery gift, and that is almost ended. It ends on the 20th, so get that in later today, or hopefully tomorrow it'll still be a thing. But yeah, that's something they've already been running. I just recently found out about it, and if you want to do that, jump on it quickly, because it's about to expire. I have no idea what mystery gift you're going to get. They make it look like a mystery model. I kind of doubt it's something exclusive. I'd be a little nervous about it that they'd send me a model I already have, but if you're already ordering $50 worth of stuff, give it a shot. I did see, I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time, but the Shanlu ship from Peace Cool that I've talked about a while ago, I am now seeing it on AliExpress for sale. So it is out there. Now, I did see on MU's page, it looks like another model has shown up. And it's again the situation where if you click on it, it takes you to a page that appears blank, but if you highlight everything, you can see some text and a link to download that does, or more information or something that doesn't actually work. And there's only one picture, and that's before you click on it, because once you click on it and go to the separate page, there's no picture. So there's only one small picture. But I've got a title. It's a Starry Sky Playground. It appears to be some sort of building or castle, maybe fantasy-like, kind of floating over or in a cloud over a whale, like a humpback whale on a stand. It's very interesting, very neat looking and colorful. I have no idea what's going on here. Probably based in some sort of Chinese mythology or story. As usual, if you can provide information, please leave in the comments down below. But Starry Sky Playground, with Starry with 2 R's, model number YM-N122, looks to be 236 pieces, 3 sheets, if I'm reading it correctly. Finish size is 165 by 156 by 23.5 millimeters, and that's including the bracket, or 16.5 by 15.6 by 23.5 centimeters. 6-star difficulty rating, and I constantly forget that's on MU if that's out of 8 or out of 10. I think that's out of 10. And that's all the information I have on it right now. I'm not seeing it yet on AliExpress. It might be out there, and I'm just not looking in the right place. I did a search for it. I didn't see it. I want to say I saw it in one of the Facebook Metal Earth groups recently, but I don't know if that was just a link to the MU page or if they actually found it somewhere. But if nothing else is coming soon, I'm curious myself to know more about it and what's going on with it. Like I said, didn't find it on AliExpress. Could be there, I didn't find anything else on AliExpress, any other models to talk about. I did notice that AliExpress, a lot of the stores are doing a summer sale. There's a summer sale going on. And as usual, this could be a way for you to save some money on a model that you've been wanting to get, but definitely shop around. Don't just go by one store. I've absolutely seen where one store seems to have a cheaper price, but when you go to get it, there's actually shipping involved, where another store may have a more expensive price and there's no shipping. So it may seem like a sale, but in the fine print it's not. So shop around and good luck, and definitely, check that out. There may be a chance for you to save some money on a model you're wanting to get. I've already said that. But that pretty much brings us to the end on new models that I'm seeing this week, or actually the past 2 weeks. And one of the things that I mentioned in last week's, or last time's video, was mentioned I got a comment on glue, or do you use glue, what do you use, and I talked a little bit about it, and I opened the floor up for anybody to comment on what they use, or what they do when they break apart, so on and so forth. And I got quite a few comments. And I think I remember how to say this correctly. Karen Nickus comments, I've used Bison, Loctite, and cheap non-brand superglues. They all work well enough, but A, often turn white after hardening, and B, dissolve the paint. That last one is something you need to watch out for. I believe the non-brand one usually stays clear, but tended to glue the tip shut and had to be thrown away after a few uses. I'm still looking for something that dries clear. It's been a while since I've used the Loctite, and I tend to try and use it in such a way you're not going to see it when I do use it. But I can't remember. I mean, Loctite might dry with a white bit to it. I don't remember. It's been a while. And again, I tend to try to use it on the inside where you don't see it. Daniel B commented, I've used a two-sided tape to hold the peacock tail. It holds the tail solidly in place, and the model now stands steadily. That's interesting. Two-sided tape, I mean, if it works, it works. Kind of, I don't know why, but it popped into my head. I've got a Optimus Prime model from MU over here that if you've ever built it, it's kind of wonky and not the most secure joints, and it did end up breaking 2 or 3 joints. I think it fell over and just broke like an arm and a leg, and I ended up hiding magnets in it to hold it together. And I would bring it over here and show you, but I really don't want to mess with it and it fall apart again. But I've used magnets to hold stuff together too. Moving on, Craig Bignell. The glue I've had the best luck with is Bondic UV glue. I have tried some other UV glues and they don't seem to work as well. So I haven't heard of Bondic UV glue, but UV glue in general, I get it. I've used some UV glue. Usually that stuff's not sticky, it just kind of hardens around things. So you have to use that strategically so that it covers whatever you're trying to hold together, and you're not relying on it actually bonding the 2 pieces or sticking the 2 pieces together, basically creating a plastic shell around it. At least the UV glue that I have used. Garth Irwin, hi Brad, great video as always, keep up the great work. Before I delve into the information about the Peace Cool model, I would like to throw my 5 cents in and say I use hot glue to help hold broken bits. It's an art to get it nice, but a sharp knife cuts off excess and it looks great. I also use blue tack for parts that do not require such a firm grasp. The golden winged bird crest, it comes from the Song dynasty, and the real crest is on display in the Yunnan Museum, I believe. Used in ceremonies such as weddings and coronations, its roots are from Buddhist religion and is commonly given the name Garuda. The Garuda is a mythical golden eagle common to both Hindu and Buddhist mythology. The Garuda was a chimera having the wings, beak, and feet of the golden eagle, but a man's arm and trunk. The Garuda is commonly used as an emblem in South and Southeast Asian nations. And that last bit, I kind of ran into that without thinking, was commenting on a previous model, I think a couple of weeks ago. If I remember correctly, it was a cornet or a crown of some sort. And I do remember the name Garuda. So if you want to know what he's talking about, go check out last news video and see what they're talking about there. Or if I can remember here, I'll throw a picture over there of the model so we know what we're talking about. But that was a two-part from Garth. Garth is always spot on with the information and might be in the comments down below about today's interesting MU model. But thank you for that. Hot glue and cutting off the excess bits. That's an interesting idea. I've used hot glue before, but it was in a hidden area and I just left it. A few more comments. Max Musterman. I used super glue before, and one problem I had was that it leaves some white stain around the glued area. Especially for an all silver model, this can be a real problem if it's in a visible area. I since then used UV glue and it became my go-to method to fix broken parts or weakly tabs. Also far less messier since you have time to clean it up before you harden it with a UV torch. And that's a good point. Again, same thing with the super glue. You tend to have a white film. The UV glue, there are different glues, and there are some that do dry foggy and some that do dry clear. The one that I got leaked at one point and got all over my hands, and it was such a nightmare cleaning that up before I moved on, because it didn't just wipe off, it just kind of smeared. But different UV glues may have different properties and clean up easier than others. So yeah, if you have UV glue that cleans up easy and definitely dries clear, leave it in the comments below. I'd be curious to see which one you're using and maybe where you got it from, because outside of Amazon I've not seen it anywhere else personally. Tom Irene, apologize if I've gotten that wrong. I made a handful of repairs using a hot glue gun. It dries fairly fast and usually holds tight. Another thing that may help is to use some sort of jig to hold the parts in position while applying the glue. A good jig can act as a second pair of very steady hands and protect your fingers from the heat of the glue while it cools. And hot glue can get very finger burny. I used hot glue. If you go find the video where I packed my models a few years ago, I used hot glue to glue pieces of cardboard in a box to hold models together, and it definitely scorched my fingers a couple of times. I use hot glue for other things. It is a risk. But good tip there. Thank you very much, Tom, for that comment. And lastly, we've got Richard Kroll. No particular orders. This is just the way in which I copied them down. The best glue I've used is medium epoxy. It is thick, so it stays where it's put and allows about 15 minutes for adjustment. The drawback is it dries cloudy, so it's not good for exposed areas, but it does help hold parts the best. After that, UV glue works great. It dries clear, parts can be adjusted, and misplaced glue cleaned up until the UV light is applied, and it does not take much to make a good bond between parts. The drawback is that it requires accessibility for the UV light to work. I've tried super glue. The bond is usually pretty good, but the ones I have used release a gas while hardening that tends to fog unpainted parts, when the looser ones can run. I have had success with the Gorilla Micro Precise Super Glue. I bought Loctite after seeing it recommended, but have not yet tried it. So basically a lot of the same things as super glue. It can be tricky. You can get fast acting, slow acting, depends on whether or not you want time to manipulate things, but most, if not all of it's going to dry with some sort of white or fog residue, possibly damage to the paint. UV glue works great. Most of it dries clear, but you got to be able to get into the area to shine the light. And from my experience, the UV doesn't stick and it doesn't bond things. It just basically hardens around things so they can't move. So if you're trying to do two pieces side by side together, like two flat pieces, and you put glue in between and harden it, they're going to pull right apart because there's nothing wrapping around to keep it. But if you have a twisted tab you're trying to hold in place, it hardens around that and around the other parts and keeps it from wiggling, but can be knocked loose if you try. So thank you everybody for commenting and leaving your experience. A lot of us are getting the same experience, and it's just good to know we're not the only ones getting it. And thank you for those of you who have actually left like brands or what you're using. Kind of interested to hear what particular UV glues those of you who are using UV glues use down below. brand name, where did you get it, and does it come with a UV light, or is that something you have to get separately? I'm curious to know more because I have limited knowledge of where to get UV glues outside of searching the internet and Amazon and coming up with stuff that sometimes is sketchy and I'm not sure I want to do. But I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you everyone for commenting. Thank you for watching. As always, keep on keeping on, and we'll see you here in a couple of weeks. And in between then, if something comes up, I'll try to post about it on just YouTube, or make a short, if I can, just a short, maybe 30-second or 1-minute video about it. We'll see how this goes. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep on keeping on.